Hello everyone and welcome back to Friday Night with Nadine. The fight for animal rights returned to Parliament this week. Conservative MP Dame Andrea Jenkyn is calling on the government to bring back its scrapped animal welfare bill and is petitioning the Prime Minister to make sure that animals are protected. Labour is calling for the same thing but lost a vote on the issue this week. The government says it's committed to maintaining animal welfare standards and protections will be introduced in other pieces of legislation. Andrea joins me now. So, Andrea, what happened this week? It seemed to me as though Labour... Well, first of all, I didn't understand why we scrapped this bill in the first place. I think I may still have been in Cabinet when it happened. Never understood why that was happening. The messages that I got when I was in Cabinet was it was the farming lobby that were very opposed to it. But what Labour did was they tried to kind of seize control of Westminster yesterday and get a bill through with support from government benches to bring it back. What happened?
I mean, first of all,
Because you were going to support them, weren't you?
I was. I mean, we all, you, yourself included, stood on that manifesto when the fantastic Boris, a real animal lover, was ensuring we showed that the Conservatives care about animals. And to hear after there was just 5 hours left to debate it in the Commons for the third reading, to hear it being dropped was just ridiculous. And so I immediately set up the petition, got over 11,000 signatures. So I was prepared to, vote against the government this week and support Labour, which is hard to do as a Conservative, you know that, Nadine. But when I actually got into the chamber, I soon realised that they was actually trying to take control of the order paper and control of the business for the 12th of July. And I thought, we saw that in Brexit. Do you remember at Brexit when they tried to do that? Yeah. And, if we'd let them have done it then we wouldn't have had Brexit. And I think that's a dangerous place to be and let them take control. And it's wrong.
So, yeah, because we're the elected... So people didn't elect Labour to take control of the order paper or to run government. They elected a Conservative government to do that. So it should be Conservative policies which are voted on in the chamber, not... I can tell you, Andrea, I served my first 5 years in opposition and never once did we get a sniff of getting anywhere near to controlling the order paper in the way the Labour Party have over the last 7 years on a number of occasions. So you did the right thing. You absolutely did the right thing from a democratic perspective. But it does still leave the question, why did we shelve this bill? Why are we not doing more on trophy hunting? Why did we get to the position we did on trophy hunting? The live export of animals, the forced feeding of geese for foie gras, all of these issues have also been shelved, along with the bigger issues which farmers and others objected to. Now, you're trying to get 100,000 signatures, aren't you? Which bits, if the government said, OK, Andrea, we're going to bring this bill back, but we can't bring all of it back, what's your priorities, your list of priorities?
I think banning the puppy farming. I think that's very important. Also, the dog theft. I mean, at the moment, dog theft is classed as the same normal theft as if your laptop was pinched. I mean, the emotional impact on losing a dog. I got a dog pinched out my garden when I was about 12, and you still remember it all these years later. So that'd be the two things. And also banning of live export of animals. I mean, they only do it to fatten the animals up, and it's cruel. So that's probably the three key things for me, but we should not have dropped it in the first place, Nadine. So,
do you know, as an MP, you go to visit your constituents a lot, and I think one of the constituency visits that I remember the most, and it still upsets me now, is going to see a farmer who had retired, who was sat outside his house on a sunny day on a chair by his front door, and his black Labrador bitch was lying on the path in front of him with one of her puppies that he'd kept from a litter next to her. And a white van went past, stopped, screeched, reversed into his driveway. Someone got out, picked up both dogs by their necks, opened the van, threw them in the back of the van, got in and drove off. And when he was telling me, he was sobbing. And, I'll never forget him.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And I'll never, honestly, emotionally, to see a man of his age with his last dog, he said, absolutely, and the puppy, and you could see he loved her so much. And it was weeks later when I went to see him because he was getting nowhere with the police. The emotional impact it has on people and how dramatic. It's like having your children stolen for some people.
Family, aren't they?
Yes, just utterly shocking. So it really upsets me that. And I'm not sure if, what kind of deterrent do we need to stop dog theft? Because people are suffering from it every day.
Well, I throw them inside,
yeah,
to be honest with you.
In prison, Yes. But, the van that came down his driveway had no number plate on the back.
Doesn't
so, it was kind of like marked out. It is, they deliberately came to do that, and it is a huge problem. What about the issues that farmers complain about is the live export of animals? What's our answer to that? What would be your answer to that?
I mean, I don't think we should be,
But is the answer to not live export? Is it to having more abattoirs? Because what we did is we closed down, we centralised abattoirs to huge organisations and closed down all the local abattoirs. Is the answer to have more local abattoirs?
I think it is, Nadine. I think that's the only way going forward, which will obviously help the local economy anyway, but that's the only way. But I think we also need to look at why was it stopped in the first place. My understanding is there was 2 members of the cabinet who was opposed to it. It was one's very much into the whole hunting lobby, and so they had a word with the Prime Minister.
I sometimes wonder if the government is actually trying to lose the election. Yeah, because this bill would be popular. The example of
something like 72% of the general public want to see, better caring for animals.
Yeah, it's right across politics, and right across age groups.
It cuts through. It literally cuts through. One of the reasons Theresa May lost, well, she didn't lose, but lost our majority and did so badly in 17 was because there was a sniff of, I think she even said,
it was in my constituency,
the hunting.
Yeah.
I remember going around Bedford knocking on doors and people saying to me, actually, Nadine, I quite like animals. People who were Conservative voters and closing the door in my face. It was like, most people love animals. Rachel, you're an animal lover. You've got a beautiful dog. You had a litter of puppies last year from your dog, didn't you?
I know. I mean, I was thinking when you were telling that story about your constituency, your constituent, when we got our first family dog and the children were little, someone said to me, "You're not getting a puppy, you're getting a family tragedy." And I was like, "What do you mean? This is Coco. This is like this gorgeous lab, Collie Cross." And the person said, when that dog dies, you will all be... I cried for 2 weeks. I mean, what that man went through. And I think the animal welfare is an issue of national importance. It's an issue of moral importance. I mean, all you had to do in Cabinet or to say in the Commons is what St Francis of Assisi said, be kind and merciful to all animals.
Absolutely.
End of debate.
Yes.
Andrea, what happens with your petition now?
Well, to me, I'm going to ramp it up. When Labour politicised it yesterday, and I really felt they was using animals as pawns to try and take control of the order paper, if they had not have done that, they would have got quite a few Conservatives going in there. And so I think that's actually damaged it more. And so I'm just going to push my petition out. So if you two can help and promote it on social media.
I don't sign petitions, but good luck to you.
Thank you. Well, I want to get to 100,000 and take it to the Prime Minister, because it's about people power. It's showing that actually, look, the British public care about this.
Look, there's politics on all sides.
It's a great bill. I don't understand why it was shelved at the time, because it was a great bill.
Yes.
And the things that were seriously contentious, a bit like my online safety bill, which I took into Westminster, were actually the Lords are having a great time with over in the other place. It was watered down because the new administration under Rishi Sunak didn't like all of it. They took parts of it out. Why didn't that happen with the animal welfare bill?
Yes.
Why were just the very contentious parts, which MPs in the Conservative Party didn't like, why weren't those contentious parts taken out? No one, as Rachel says, is going to, animal welfare in dogs and pets cuts across everything. I think no one was going to complain.
I think what there was concern about, because I've had conversations with Therese Coffey and everybody, because I've been quite vocal about this. There was concern about what Labour was going to attach onto it in the opposition. But we've got a big majority, haven't we?
And it's always a concern.
And if it's for animals, do it.
If the fear Labour was going to try and move an amendment to tighten up the law on hunting with hounds, fox hunting and deer, well, you'd probably support it. But the government's still got 70, 80 seat.
Exactly.
Sorry, about a 70-seat working majority could vote.
And that could have been a free vote if they had have done that. And those in rural communities.
Never have passed. Because everyone just says leave it alone.
And you have to reiterate, you still, as a party, still oppose fox hunting.
So, in my opinion, Andrea, we could have taken out the bits that we wanted, fought our corner, won that bill, and animals would be in a much better place today than they are right now. So, thank you, Andrea, and good luck with the petition.